Saw you fire.
Evening.
Ah, that coffee of yours sure smells good.
Help yourself.
Ah, thanks.
What's the matter with him?
The horse? He's got a stone bruise. My God, and it's hard luck on me, too. I gotta be a marionette first thing in the morning.
Well, you might be able to pick up a horse in Midas.
Yeah, how far is that?
About 15 miles.
You live there?
Nope.
Just kind of heading that way, though.
In the morning.
Yeah, it's a mighty nice horse you got there. I'll give you a couple $100 for it. I say you can have my horse, and as soon as that bruise heals, he'll be as good as new.
Not for sale.
I'll give you $250.
You are in a hurry, aren't you?
Yeah, I said I was.
How come?
Mister, do you want to sell that horse of yours or not?
Well, I thought I answered that.
Well, all right. Thanks for the coffee.
Evening, Mrs. Kendall.
Evening, Jess. Why don't you lock up and go on home?
Oh, I don't mind staying. Might be a customer come along. Can't tell.
When was the last time we had a customer, Jess? Look, I tell you what. You come on over and I'll fix you some dinner. Is that Jim Hubbard?
I don't know. If it is, he's sure in a hurry about something.
When did it happen?
This afternoon, just a couple miles west of the Marinette office.
Well, I think this calls for the house to buy a drink. Set him up, Zach.
You bet. Evening.
Evening. Got a room?
Sure have, mister. We got a drink, too, on the house.
Well, now, what are we celebrating?
We just got some good news.
Oh?
A couple of hold-up men bushwhacked the Dutton Company messenger this afternoon. Got the Marinette payroll. $5,000.
That's good news.
Mister, anything that's bad news to Dutton Mining is good news to Midas. Drink up.
No, I'll just take the room, thank you.
Oh, it's up to you. You can register right here.
Somebody take care of my horse. He's just outside.
Yeah, sure. Hey, Jess, take the gentleman's horse. Number 5. You be here long?
Oh, just a few days. I'm meeting my brother here. Should be arriving sometime tomorrow. You have a room for him?
Sure will, Mr.
Barkley.
Stockton, California.
That's right.
You're not welcome here, Mr. Barkley. Nobody connected with Dutton Mining Company is welcome in this town.
I wasn't expecting a welcome. I was expecting a room. And I don't want any trouble.
What are you doing here, anyway?
Came to look in at that mine.
You're a little late. There's nothing left of that rotten hole of yours.
It's not mine.
Oh, well, you'll have to excuse me if I don't know exactly which part belongs to the Barkleys and which part to Webb Dutton. All I know is the whole stinking shaft caved in.
That's why I'm here.
What are you going to do? Wave a magic wand and bring 25 men back from the dead? That's a lot of men, Mr. Barkley. You should have been here the day we buried him. 25 coffins beside 25 graves. So many graves I had to help dig the one for my own husband. His name was Mike Kendall, and you killed him, you and Webb Dutton.
Now, Mrs. Kendall, I'm here to get some facts. And as soon as I do get some facts, then I think it best that you and I sit down and talk about this.
You want some facts, Mr. Barkley? Well, here's one. Zach, let him see your leg. Let him see what the cave-in did to it.
Don't.
Show Mr. Barkley a fact.
Don't.
Mr. Barkley, we almost filled the cemetery that day, but not quite. There's still room for another grave or two.
And we all better be careful, hadn't we? Good night.
What's he after?
Perhaps he wants to help.
Help. That's my little sister. Every woman a beautiful princess. Every man a knight in shining armor. Drink up, boys. Zach will pour you another.
Miss Kendall?
Who do you reckon he is, Miss Hannah?
Get Zach, hurry.
Who is he, Hannah?
Dutton.
You think he's one of the men?
Let's get him inside this table. How is he?
He's hurt bad, Hannah. He's lost a lot of blood.
Hannah?
Nora, what are you doing here?
What happened?
Just close that door.
Hannah, who?
The Dutton payroll messenger was robbed and killed this afternoon by 2 men. He's one of them. Now get out of here.
What are you going to do?
Sack and I'll take care of him.
Hannah, he needs a doctor.
Oh, what doctor? Schaefer? That old fool had run to Webb Dutton first thing.
Well, you can't just let him lie there.
Will you get out of here? Jess, come on, let's get him up to the
Hannah,
loft.
he'll die.
She's right.
Listen, if Dutton gets him, he'll die anyway. He killed his messenger. Listen. Listen, we've all been sitting around wishing there was some way we could get back at Dutton. Well, here's our chance. He's hurt Dutton mining where it hurts the most, in the pocketbook. And I don't care who he is or what he is or how many men he's killed. That makes him a friend of mine. And yours. Doesn't it?
It sure does.
What'll I do with this, Miss Kendall?
Put it in the feed bin. Now you go on home.
No, I want to help.
Nora, build a fire in the stove and heat some water.
All right. All right. Go in the back room, get some clean cloths that we can use for bandages. Now let's get him up to the loft, Jess. Nora, honey, it's morning.
Sorry, I didn't mean to fall asleep. How is he?
He needs fresh bandages.
He needs a doctor.
I'll get some clean clothes from Zach. Jess. I need some more clean clothes.
How are the cards running, boys?
Deal 'em.
Anybody here?
Get down from there. Get down. What are you doing here?
I'm just coming to get my horse.
Well, get him and get out. Your partner, Mr. Barkley.
right, Zach. Whiskey all around.
Mrs. Kendall don't have no whiskey for you, Mr. Dutton.
Is that right?
That's right.
Get a bottle. And no rot gut. Maybe you folks haven't heard. We had a payroll robbery yesterday afternoon. Oh, good morning, Miss Kendall. Before he died, my messenger described one of the men who bushwhacked him. About 25, brown hair, blue eyes. He's wearing light tan pants, a brown shirt, and a leather vest. My messenger thought he might have winged him. He wasn't sure about that. Seen anybody around here like that?
No.
Sure.
He said no.
But you'll let me know if you do, won't you? That messenger was Jed Harker. Now, most of you know him. He was a friend of mine. And when I get the two men who killed him, they're going to get the same chance Jed got. And that goes for anybody who tries to get in the way. Let's go.
Mr. Dutton, you can't ride in here and push us around. Not anymore. 25 of our men are dead. This town dies a little bit more every day. We've lost everything. What more can you do to us? You don't scare us, Mr. Dutton. You or your partner.
Partner?
You just might be meaning me.
Barkley.
Oh, Dutton.
What are you doing here?
I think it best that you and me go up to my room and have a little talk, don't you?
Might be a good idea. Wait outside, man.
Zach, come on over to the barn.
Come on in, Dutton.
When'd you get here?
Well, last night, we thought we'd have a look at the Midas mine, maybe a couple other mines while we're at it.
Is Jared with you?
No, my brother Heath's gonna meet me here.
Heath? I've never met him. What's your, sudden interest in the Midas?
Kind of a strange question, wouldn't you say? Last time I looked, we owned 40% of that hole.
And I own 60.
Which gives you control. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm, that's what I'm saying. And I'm saying something else, too. I don't like you sneaking around behind my back.
Now, wait a minute, Dutton. 25 men were killed in that cave-in, and we'd kind of like to know why.
As long as you get the return on your investment, that's the only concern of yours.
The people downstairs may not agree with you on that.
You let me take care of them.
It's not that easy, Dutton. When my family owns 40% of a company, it also owns 40% of the responsibility. We'd like to know where we failed. We owe the people of this town that much.
We don't owe them anything. If a man goes to work in a mine, he takes his chances. If he doesn't know that, that's his hard luck. That cave-in was an accident. They happened.
For a reason.
I've got nothing to hide.
I hope not.
Take him out this way.
Mr. Dutton. Been looking for you, Webb. My men got one of them killers treed.
Where?
In a draw just south of Pine Creek.
Well, let's go get him.
Well, there ain't no rush about it. He can't go 6 feet in any direction. And there ain't no use taking any chance on somebody getting killed going in there after him. He'll have to give himself up as soon as his grub and water run out.
I want him now, Mason. Barkley, 40% of that payroll belonged to you. You riding with us?
No, I'd say you got all the men you need right now, Dutton.
Let's go.
What'd you do with him?
Who?
The man that belongs to that blood up there?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about the man you're hiding that killed Dutton's messenger.
Is that what you think?
Uh-huh. I also think you're making a big mistake. What is the point, Mrs. Kendall? I mean, if you are hiding this man just to get back at Dutton, it's kind of stupid, wouldn't you say? I mean, the only one you're going to wind up hurting is yourself.
Don't you preach at me about hurting myself, Mr. Barkley. I've been hurt all I can be. Now I'm going to tell you once more. Get out of Midas. Get out and stay out. Every man in this town has a gun and a debt he'd like to collect.
We put him in number 20, Hannah.
You're sure nobody saw you?
No, we took him up the back way.
Who is it?
It's Hannah. Nora, I want you to do something for me. I want you to go to the stable and wrap those saddlebags in a blanket and bring them right back up here.
But Hannah...
I'll stay with him. Do as I say.
Mike.
His partner. And anybody who gets in my way will end up like this one. Think it over. I'll be back.
You let Dutton kill him.
How was I going to
You're
stop?
supposed to be the sheriff.
Dutton Mining owns this county, Mrs. Kendall. I never forget that. You better not either. A couple of you men, give me a hand here.
Audra.
What?
Gotta get to...
What did you say?
Where's my horse? My brother check in yet?
No. You've been out to the mine.
You people keeping pretty close check on me, aren't you?
That's right.
How far is it to Marinette?
About 30 miles.
Well, I think I'll ride out that way, see if I can meet him. Oh, and if he gets here before I get back, you tell him where I am. And tell him to wait. Now, don't forget, huh?
Hannah, what are we gonna do?
About what?
That fellow up there. Now, you heard Dutton. He suspects we're hiding him. We've got to decide what to do.
Later.
Hannah.
Later.
Who's there?
It's me.
Hannah, his fever's much worse. He's been saying things, but I couldn't understand him. If you won't send for Dr. Schaefer, then let's get him to Marinette. There's a doctor there.
No, it's too risky. Dutton's men may be watching the road.
Well, then we can go tonight after dark.
No.
Hannah, you can't let him die. If we turn him over to the sheriff in Marinette, then at least he'll stand a chance.
Oh, what chance? He'll hang. He's a killer.
I don't believe that.
What?
I don't believe he's a killer.
Oh, you don't?
No.
And how did you decide that? Just by looking at him?
I don't know. I just feel.
Oh, feel? You are such a little fool sometimes. You live in a dream world. You've never seen anyone or anything the way they really are. Show me why he isn't a killer. Now you tell me what you see that I don't.
I can't.
No, of course you can't. You can't explain this either, can you?
No.
No. That doesn't mean a thing to you. You don't know who he is. Don't know where he came from. Don't even know his name. But you've decided he's not a killer. I wonder what would happen to that pretty world of yours if you ever had to help dig a grave for the man you loved.
Three o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, about that. Maybe a little later. I asked him why he didn't stay another night, but he said he had to be to Midas first thing in the morning.
Thank you.
Hope everything's all right with him.
Who are you?
I'm Nora.
Where am I?
Midas.
Midas? Yeah. Remember.
You're safe here.
Safe.
For the time being, at least. Until you're well enough and we can get you away.
Get me away? I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't have to lie to us. We know who you are. We know you're one of the men that held up the Dutton messenger.
Messenger? Not making any sense. Got to meet brother.
Your brother?
Heath. Heath Barkley.
You're lying.
He's not. You know he's not. His brother said he was going to meet him here.
Nick.
Hannah, you've got to get his brother.
He's not here. He went to Marinette.
What is it, Hannah?
Here, hide this in the storeroom. It's the payroll money. Go on.
What's the matter?
That man up there, we were wrong about him.
What do you mean?
He didn't have anything to do with the payroll holdup.
What?
Hannah! Hannah, help him! Please!
Yes, honey. Yes,
Please!
honey.
Help him!
We'll get Doc Schaefer, sure. Zach, you see to him. And we'll send Jess to Marinette and to get his brother, and you are going to get some rest.
No, I want to stay with him.
You've got to get some rest, Nora. You just can't go on like this, honey. You're going to get sick yourself. And then where would we be?
You mean it. You will send for the doctor.
Of course. Now, look, you just lie right down here.
And you'll call me as soon as the doctor gets here.
Yes, yes.
Hannah?
Mm-hmm.
Are you angry with me for being right about him?
No, of course not.
Who is he?
His name's Barkley.
Barkley?
He's Heath Barkley.
How come he had the payroll?
Oh, he said some man tried to steal his horse, and there was shooting, and he was hurt, and a man was killed. What difference does it make?
None, I guess. Dutton will get his money back.
No, he won't.
And Barkley's sure to tell him about it.
What if he never got the chance? What if Dutton killed him first?
Dutton?
Yes. What if he heard that the killer was hiding somewhere around here? In the Midas, maybe.
Hannah, what are you trying to say?
What would he do?
He'd go after him, you know that.
Yes. And not give him any more chance than he gave that poor devil today.
Hannah, I don't know.
I do. Dutton's kill crazy. Shoot. Shoot first. Shoot to kill. And ask questions later. Only later is too late.
It'll be
worth it. Once. Just once. To see the Duttons and Barkleys of this world kill their own kind instead of ours. Here, put this over him. You get this to the sheriff. His brother took him.
Took him? Where?
To Marinette.
Marinette?
Yes, to get him the care he needs. Doc Schaefer thought it was best.
The doctor was here?
Yes. Very late last night.
Why didn't you wake me?
Oh, Nora, you needed the rest.
You promised.
Yes, I know. I know I did. I'm sorry now. I'm sorry now I didn't. Look, why don't you sit down and, in a minute I'll fix us something to eat.
You're lying.
Nora.
The doctor wasn't here. Neither was Mr. Barkley. He's not taking Heath to Marinette.
Why, yes, he is.
I'm going to find out.
We're not going anywhere.
You are lying. What have you done with him?
You've killed him. Nora, listen to me.
Let go of me.
Do you want Dutton to get that money back?
You'd kill a man for that?
He killed Mike.
What?
Mike and all the other men who died with him. Did the Barkleys ever come here to see what that rotten hole of theirs was like? No. No. All they cared about was their share of the profits. Dutton or Barkley, what difference does it make? They're all to blame. They killed Mike. All of them.
Got something for you. The man Dutton wants is hiding in the Midas mine. Where'd you get this?
Sheriff found it under his door this morning.
Get the men. How is she?
Oh, she's all right. She just, lies there. She looks at me, but she doesn't see me. And I talk to her and I try to explain. She doesn't hear me.
All right, Mrs. Kendall, I want to know, and I want to know right now, who is that wounded man you're hiding? Who is he?
Tell him, Hannah.
He's your brother.
That's what I figured. I found his gun by his campsite. Now, where is he?
Tell him. Tell him where he is.
He's in the Midas mine.
Hannah.
Forgive me. Forgive me, Nora.
There he is.
Let's get him, men.
Not me, Mr. Dudley.
What?
I'm not going in there. That whole mountain could come down on our heads any minute. Right, fellas?
One of you men bring me some water.
Thanks, Nick. You're gonna be all right, Heath. You're gonna be all right.
I don't suppose you'll ever be back in Midas.
Well, I wouldn't be too sure of that. Somebody's got to buy that Dutton estate. I got a hunch it might be the Barclays. Right, Nick?
Right.
I hope so.
I want to thank you, Nora.
Oh, no, I'm the one that should say thank you. To both of you for keeping Hannah and Zach out of jail.
Well, we think Midas has had all the punishment it should have to take. Goodbye, Nora.
Come on. Get up. Get up.
Town will take a chance on a new doctor.
Now, this new doctor, he wouldn't be young and handsome, would he?
Well, I don't know,
But you've heard that he is, and you'd like to find out for yourself, hmm?
Mother, how could you think? Anyway, you haven't any objections to going to a young, good-looking doctor, have you?
No, as a matter of fact, I don't.
I'll be out in a moment. Please be seated.
Vienna School of Medicine. Very impressive. I wonder why he came here.
Well, whatever the reason, I think the people in this town should be glad that he did come to Stockton. He could have gone elsewhere.
Yes, I suppose he could have.
I'm afraid that chemical reactions over a Bunsen burner don't have the courtesy to wait while the doctor greets his patients. How do you do?
How do you do?
I'm Dr. Belden, and I'm most sorry to have kept you waiting.
Well, I hope we didn't interrupt anything important.
I assure you, you have not. Mrs.
Barclay, Victoria Barclay. This is my daughter, Audra.
So nice to meet you, Doctor.
It's entirely my pleasure. You know, in the short time I've been here, I've heard more about your family than I have about Stockton.
Well, I wouldn't believe everything I've heard.
Please, make yourselves comfortable.
Found him hanging in the livery stable. He was barely breathing when I cut him down. This way.
Mr. Gibbons?
That's right.
Everett Gibbons tried to take his own life?
No. The way he was tied up, somebody tried for him.
Easy. If you'll wait outside, please.
Victoria, I'm sorry you had to see this. I know you and Everett have been friends for many years.
30 years.
Well, I gotta be going. Doc, thanks. You did the best you could, considering.
Considering? What, I wonder? The Dr. Marrar might have been able to save him if he'd been here. If I were, perhaps, 20 years older, more experienced.
Doctor, when I was a child, I had a filly colt that was struck by lightning. And when she died, and for a long time after that, I blamed those that tried to save her. You see, I didn't understand. Understanding takes time. A great deal of time.
Perhaps.
People have to get to know you.
Doctor, tomorrow evening I'm having the publisher of the Stockton paper for dinner. Won't you join us?
Well, thank you. I'd like to very much.
Good. Shall we say 7:30?
7:30 it is. Thank you again.
Mother, didn't you want to ask the doctor something about yourself?
Ask me what?
She hasn't been feeling well these past few days.
Oh, it's nothing serious. I have been a little bit under the weather.
You were running a fever last night.
Only because it was very warm and I was tired. And if I don't look well now, Doctor, it's because it's lunchtime and I'm very hungry.
Well, if you're sure, you know it'll only take...
No, it won't be necessary, Doctor. My children have a tendency to over-worry about my health. They don't know I plan to outlive them all. Good day.
Good day.
There you are, Martin.
Thank you, Victoria.
More cake.
Oh, no thanks. However, I could use a spot of brandy in this coffee if Jared would have a mind.
Just as soon as I put this 12 ball in a corner pocket.
Then I'll help myself. That'll cost you.
And you, too, if the good doctor's eye is as sharp as it's been all evening.
I'm afraid it's more a question of pure luck than a sharp eye. I haven't played pool in years, not since my father taught me as a boy.
Easy now. You're holding your cue too tight, son. Yeah, that's better. Nice shot, son. You're getting pretty good. Before I know it, you'll be showing me how it's done.
Oh, no, Father. It'll be a long time before anybody can come near you in a game of billiards.
Thank you. But don't advertise that around town. I'm a banker, and some people think that billiards is a game invented by the devil. They expect a banker to be a saint, you know. Truth is, saints don't make good bankers.
Was he, Doctor? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disturb your concentration. I was just wondering if your father was as cautious as you are.
My father wasn't cautious in the least. A 12 ball in the corner.
Your father did a good job. You're winning, sir. Now, how about a chance to recoup?
You, baby. I've still got a special edition to put to bed.
A special edition? What about Martin?
Eb Gibbons' murder.
Oh?
Is this some new development?
You might say that. Sheriff found a note in the livery stable yesterday. Killer must have pinned it to Ev's body and it fell off. It was done in straw. Oh, wait a minute here. Made a tracing of it.
For what they did together, all will die as he did. That looks like the scrawlings of a child.
I know.
Now, obviously, the meaning didn't come from the mind of a child.
But what they did together, all will die. Kind of sounds like he intends to kill again.
Yeah, that's what we're afraid of.
Sounds frightening.
Yes, I know, Audrey. But the one thing about a killer is that he always trips himself up. Well, I've got to go.
Oh.
Victoria, it's been delightful as always. And I wish you'd invite me more often. We don't see enough of each other. You know, you've been looking a mite on the pale side this evening. I've never known you not to have roses in those cheeks.
I never felt better.
Don't bother to show me out. I know the way. Jared, Audrey.
Good night.
Nice meeting you, Doctor. Oh, I'll see we get your name in print so folks will know you're around.
Thank you.
Night, Victoria.
Good night.
Well, I'd better be running along, too.
Oh, can't you stay for another cup of coffee?
Thank you, but it is getting late, and Mr. Erskine is right. You are looking a little pale. May I suggest some rest? There have been a few cases of influenza going around.
Oh, I'm sure it's nothing but a slight cold, but thank you for your concern. And thank you for coming tonight.
This has been the most delightful evening I've spent since I've been in Stockton. Good night, Audra. Good night.
Good night, Doctor.
Good night.
I'll see you to the door.
I'm almost done, Father. Only one more.
Audra?
Jared, what are you doing up so late?
I was doing some reading and dozed off. What's your excuse, young lady? Do you realize it's past 3 o'clock in the morning?
Jared, I'm worried about Mother. She's been restless all night, and now she has a fever.
A fever? All right, I'll ride into town, get Doc Belton out here right away. Sheriff.
Jared, I know it's late, but this is very important.
Yes, of course. Come on in.
Thanks. Well, it's happened again. Martin Erskine was killed tonight.
What? How'd it happen?
Same way. I found him in his office. He'd been hanged just like Gibbons.
It's impossible to believe. Was there another note?
Yeah. Yeah, there was. That's why I'm here tonight. Read it.
This is number 2. Sweet dreams. Victoria Barkley. You're number 3.
Jared, what was your mother's connection with Evan Martin?
None. None at all, except that they were friends. Good friends.
Yeah, I know that. But beyond that, that first note said, for what they did together, all will die as he did. Now, were they partners in anything? In a business or something?
Never.
Hmm. Jared, I think you better get your mother down here. We got to talk.
No, Sheriff. I don't want to wake her. She hasn't been feeling well, and this would only...
Yeah, well, all right, but we got to talk to her as soon as possible. Meanwhile, she's got to have protection.
I'll take care of that. Nick's out on the West Range. I think I'll get him back here, too.
Well, that's a good idea. How about Heath?
No, he's up in the hills chasing mustangs. There's no way to reach him. Sheriff, do you mind if I make a tracing of this?
No, right ahead. Think someone might recognize the handwriting?
I plan to find out.
It's unbelievable. Just unbelievable. First, Mr. Gibbons, then Erskine, and now your mother.
Now, don't worry about her. She'll be well protected.
Yes, of course. And you did the right thing in not telling her.
I'm sure it's nothing serious with Mother, but we'd all feel better if you take a look at it.
Oh, yes, certainly.
Good. Thanks, Doc. By the way, Audra doesn't know about the note either. I think it's better to leave it that way until we have some answers.
I won't say a thing to her.
Good. Maybe I'll see you at the ranch later. get here, Nick?
Oh, about a half hour ago.
Mac fill you in?
Yeah, everything about it. I just told Audrey I got home sooner than I expected is all. Anything new?
Oh, not really. I took the note over to Emily Pearson, see if she might recognize the handwriting.
Looks like it was written by some kid.
It wasn't written by a kid. Whoever wrote it wants us to think that. Doc Belden is still here?
Yep.
Why?
Well, at first he thought it was influenza. But now he knows it's pneumonia.
You looked up, son. That's why you missed.
I guess I don't feel much like playing. I was thinking about what Mother said at dinner tonight.
Son, I did what I thought was right. As a banker, I had certain responsibilities. A little more time, everything would have been fine. I'd have been a hero instead of... Your mother called me a fool, didn't she?
Whatever she thinks, she's wrong. I know she's wrong.
Thank you, son. If you believe that, then I'm not alone. I'll never be alone.
You're not alone, Father.
Someone in here.
No, there's no one here, Mrs. Barkley. Perhaps you heard someone in the hall.
What is that?
Something to make you sleep.
No, I don't want to sleep. I don't want to sleep.
Please, Mrs. Barkley.
Doctor.
You're ill. This will help you.
I want to see my family. Where are my sons, my daughter? I want to see them. Please, doctor, please. They are my reason for living, don't you understand? If you take them away from me, if you don't let me see them, I will die. No. I've seen me. Jared.
You'll sleep now, Mrs. Barkley. Yes?
Dr. Belden, it's Audrey. May I come in? Dr. Belden? Dr. Belden?
You'll live now, Mrs. Barkley, I promise. You've just given me every reason for a mother to live.
Is something wrong?
No? No, she's sleeping.
Doctor, you look tired. Why don't you get some rest?
Oh, you're the one who needs rest. Please, why don't you try to sleep? I'll call you if there's any change.
Oh, no, really, I couldn't. Nick will show you where the guest room is.
Well, if you insist, I'll nap for a few minutes on the sofa in the hall. All we can do now is wait.
Doctor? Won't you come in, Doctor?
Oh, Audrey. That can't be the same patient I saw there a little while ago.
Hello, Doctor.
Would you look at it? I just can't believe it.
Yes? There's no doubt about it. The fever's broken. You ought to be able to celebrate in a few days if you do exactly as I say. The temperature seems to be normal now, but it's very important that you keep warm. And rest, plenty of rest, along with a teaspoon of this every 3 hours.
Audra says you've been here since 4 o'clock.
For this moment, I would gladly have come sooner.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
No thanks are necessary. I only did what had to be done. Oh, when this bottle's used up, would you stop by my office? I'll refill it.
Afternoon, Jared. Nick.
Afternoon.
Oh. Well, how's your mother feeling?
Much better, thanks. Be up and around in a couple of days.
Good, I'm glad to hear it. Nick, things been quiet around here?
Yeah. What brings you out, Sheriff?
This telegram came from Martin Erskine this morning.
From Martin?
Yeah.
Janet Davis died insane 2 years ago. Whereabouts of son unknown. Would have answered sooner, but the catfish are biting. Regards, Jackson, St. Louis Courier.
So?
I didn't think much about it at first, Nick, but then I realized that Martin telegraphed St. Louis just hours after we found Everett Gibbons in the livery stable.
Janet Davis.
You know, it's funny, I remember that name, but I don't know why.
Yeah, well, I wired that Jackson fella in St. Louis, and here's the answer I got. Shocked over tragic death of Martin Erskine. Regarding Janet Davis, suggest you refer to Stockton Eagle bank files for full account on her husband, Emery Davis, and Miner's bank failure.
Miner's bank? That was years ago.
Yeah, well, I think we ought to investigate this whole thing further.
All right. Best place to start would be Martin's office.
Good. I'll meet you back in town. Bye.
Nick, I'll spell you just as soon as I get back.
Jared? Are you going into town? I have to get Mother some medicine. Can I go with you?
Why, Miss Barkley, I should be delighted to have your enchanting company.
Nick, where'd the sheriff want?
Well, we lost a couple of head of cattle, and, well, he had a couple of leads he thought we should know about. Your carriage awaits. Now, what is all that with the hand kissing? Crude fellow. Knows nothing of continental manners? Giddy up. Continental manners. I'll be in my office for a few hours, so I'll pick you up about 3, all right?
Fine, I have some shopping to do anyway.
Yeah.
Audra, if you're planning to go in and see that doctor, well, I just wouldn't advise it. Oh, the nerve!
Mrs. DeCoven, what happened?
In 20 years, Dr. Moran never asked me to take my clothes off. Audra, I warned you now.
Audra.
Dr. Belden, shame on you. I just saw Mrs. DeCoven.
Oh. Well, unfortunately, I'm discovering that diagnostic techniques have advanced more rapidly than some patients' understanding. I trust that your mother is improving.
Well, she doesn't want to stay in bed any longer, and she's starting to give orders again.
Ah, that's a sure sign of recovery.
Yes, thanks to you.
She's a good patient. And I might add, she has a very competent nurse by her side.
Well, I did try to keep after her to take her medicine. She finished it this morning.
Good. I'll refill it. Just take a few minutes.
Nothing. Keep this up much longer. I'm going to need glasses. What are you doing?
Just going through these indexes again. Martin published a pretty good newspaper, but he sure didn't know anything about keeping records. G's filed under W. Here, take a look at this. First Zeldin's obituary, filed under O. Now, wait a minute. O for obituary.
Well, we looked under D for Davis. Where do you suppose it'd be?
I don't know. don't you start over here? I'll take these and we'll check every file in here.
Oh, there we are.
Thank you. Well, I know you must be busy, so I'd better be going.
I was thinking of taking the day off. Maybe taking a quiet drive through your beautiful countryside. I find that most relaxing.
It sounds lovely.
I was thinking, perhaps you'd do me the honor of joining me?
Well, thank you, but I'm supposed to meet my brother at 3.
I'll have you back before 3, I promise.
Well,
The idea doesn't appeal to you?
on the contrary, I'd love to go.
Wonderful. Wonderful. If you just wait outside, I'll close up the office.
Is something wrong, Doctor?
Well, for one thing, that doctor, it's pretty formal under the circumstances. Do you suppose we could make it Jim?
All right, Jim.
That's better. Audra, there's an old ranch house down that road. I've been there on several occasions. It fascinates me. Would you like to see it?
If you'd like.
Well, perhaps you'd rather go on.
No, I'd like to see it.
Good. Good.
Despondent over failure of the Miners Bank, which closed its doors after this newspaper revealed that Davis had overextended the bank's capitalization, investing in worthless mining ventures. Heavy withdrawals created a run on the bank and forced its closure when depositors learned that the principal investors, namely Everett Givens and Victoria Barkley, had withdrawn their funds in support for what they did together.
Martin made a note here. See follow-up June 15th. Jared, here it is. Widow leaves town. Mrs. Emery Janet Davis, with her 9-year-old son, departed this morning's stage, eastbound for St. Louis, presumably to take up new residence in that city. The Davis family holdings, including the ranch home northeast of town, have been turned over to the county clerk for disposition. Well, that must be that old place that the county is always trying to sell every year for taxes.
Yeah. Son finds body hanging in study. Sheriff, why don't we get a couple of horses and take a little ride?
You know, Audra, there's something about being here. It must be the quiet. As though time's standing still. Any man who would build something like this must have had a wife. Children. I mean, look around. Isn't this an expression of love?
You have quite an imagination.
Perhaps.
Mother, I don't understand. Why do we have to go away? I like it here. It's our home.
It was our home. Next week, it'll belong to the county. Because your father has been disgraced.
No, my father's a fine man. Nobody can say bad things about him.
They don't understand, son. You're the only one who understands.
Jim,
What?
you did want to show me around, didn't you?
Yes. Yes, of course. Why else would I bring you here? Well, of course, you must imagine the house as it was. With fresh paint and paper, comfortable furniture, and there was always a fire in the fireplace.
Right now, that's not too easy to imagine.
Really, I can see it very clearly.
This looks like it was a billiard room.
Yes, this was the billiard room.
Jimmy, you all right?
Yes. Perhaps you'd prefer to see the kitchen. It's back that way.
Fine.
Jim, I thought you were helping your father pack.
No, he's still in his study. I didn't want to disturb him.
Nonsense. It's time to leave. You'd better go tell him.
All right, Mother. I'll tell him. I'll tell him.
Don't be frightened. I'm not going to hurt your mother. No. No, that would be senseless. Waste. She as much as said so herself, you know. Her death would prove nothing. Oh. What yours? See? See, your mother would suffer that. As he suffered. And as my mother suffered. You see? Audra. Audra. It won't take long. No. Audra. It won't take long. I told you, it won't take long at all. And you see, Father would be so pleased.
Shut! You butt. Listen. Listen to me. It'll be quick. I promise you. I'm a doctor. I wouldn't hurt you.
Audra, I couldn't hurt you, please. Audra! Listen to me! Now the others. Gibbons. Martin Erskine. No, I didn't care. I didn't care about them. They deserve what they got. But you... You know... Be different with you. Don't you understand? I don't want to do it. But I must. No! Yes? Father expects it. Yes, I must. I can't let him down. I gotta do it for him.
You're insane!
Oh, no, don't say that. That's not true. He wouldn't believe you. He wouldn't. Please.
Help! Somebody please help me!
Audra.
Sounded like Belden.
Yeah, around back. Listen to me, I have to! Father expects it!
Belden!
Who are you? Go away! You know right here. You better get off this ranch. This is my father's ranch, you know.
Where's Audra? What have you done with her?
Nothing. I haven't done anything. I guess she didn't like it here. Why'd she run away? Go away! You hear me? Go away!
Hold it, Doc. Right there.
I'll tell. You can't stop me. You know right. You can't stop me. Go away!
Oh, she's hungry. Silas brought her a bowl of soup, but she'd have none of that. I think she wants a steak about 3 inches thick.
Well, that's a good sign. Where is she?
She's in the gunroom with Mother.
Oh. Remember, Chef, she likes it nice and rare. Well, you ladies are looking lovely this evening.
Jared?
Mother, Audra.
Is it over?
Yes, Audra, it's over. We buried him beside his father.
It's all so hard to believe. He seems so kind, so gentle.
Audrey. You know, I've been thinking about those notes he left. It's almost as though he wanted someone to stop him, wanted to be caught.
Jared, maybe someday there will be a better understanding of things like this.
Maybe. Well, I am starved. I think I'll join you. You look prosperous.
Well, I got 100 suit of clothes, a 40-room mansion in San Francisco, but I am still the hungry kid that you knew in law school. Can't get over how well you look. Backwoods law must agree with you.
Well, now, I wouldn't exactly call Stockton backwoods.
Yes, I know. I hear you've been doing pretty well yourself, as a matter of fact. Cattle, horses, gold mines, and a couple of 1,000 acres of timber I would be happy to take off your hands if you will accept my client's generous offer.
Now, Nat, that's what surprises me.
What?
Well, a famous lawyer like you involved in something so mundane as land purchase?
Do I detect a note of envy in that statement?
No, just surprise.
Gentlemen, I'll tell you a little secret. Only a fool gets so famous that he turns down an honest dollar. Come on over to the hotel, I'll buy you some lunch.
You two go ahead. I wouldn't want to get in the way of an old college reunion.
Well, all right, but don't you get lost. I want you to witness some signatures later.
$10 says he won't make it. 20 says he will. Hey, watch it now. Come on!
Charlie, get down from there. 3 bottles, Charlie. I'll make it 3, here. Come on now, Charlie. I'm counting on you, boy.
What do you think, Doc?
Well, I think you owe me $20.
I mean him.
Mr. Barkley, I'm only a dentist, but if you want my unprofessional opinion, I'd say he's still among the living.
He got what he deserved. Came in here begging for booze.
Oh, careful now, Gus. You're desecrating a sacred cow. Old Charlie Whitehorse here is an honest-to-goodness war hero.
That's enough, Parker.
Don't get yourself all riled up, Heath. Gus here's an old friend, 2nd Georgia Volunteers. Just want him to know the truth about Charlie so he wouldn't call him a bum. See, old Charlie here's got a nose like a hound dog. One day he's sniffing around Chickamauga. What do you suppose he smelled?
Booze?
No, sir. He smelled an ambush. Saved his whole regiment, including Mr. Heath Barkley here, who's been licking his boots ever since.
You hurt this man again, I'll kill you.
town, you used to be the biggest eater in the regiment. In fact, you were the only man I ever knew that actually liked hardtack.
I think about those days.
You know, we got a half a dozen broncs that need busting. You get yourself in shape. I'll talk to Nick.
Nick will never take me back.
He would if you'd quit the booze. Well, it's a lot easier than falling off balconies, isn't it?
I don't know.
Charlie, I'll help you. Take you to our lion shack, dry you out. Whip you like a father if you even mention whiskey.
I never knew my father. I asked about him once, and my mother said he died in a saloon.
Runs in the blood? Is that what you're trying to say? Listen, I saw you refuse whiskey while the doctor was cutting steel out of your body in 4 different places. You never even tasted the stuff until this town tried to make you a hero. Charlie the Conquering Hero.
I never wanted it.
You mean you couldn't handle it?
I just wanted to be left alone.
You let all the backslappers and handshakers turn you into a drunk. Let them turn you into the town bum, and that suited you just fine, didn't it? Charlie, all you got to do is say yes. I'll make sure you've got that job. You can start just as clean as the day you were born. Tomorrow morning, you'll be at the ranch. At 6 o'clock sharp.
You know, I was just thinking. Maybe we ought to invite Mr. Springer for dinner. Roast pork and apple pie might make him a little more receptive.
Don't kid yourself, Mother. He's not interested in the home cooking. All he wants to do is go back to San Francisco and tell that client that he got the land for a lot less than he expected to pay.
You're not going to give in to him, are you?
Oh, we'll shout at each other for a little while and both agree on the price we knew it was going to be all the time.
That sounds like a lot of foolishness to me.
Yeah, that's the way it's done.
Aren't you going to eat your breakfast?
What time is it?
It's about 8 o'clock.
You don't really expect Charlie to show up, do you?
He just might straighten out if people around here would give him a chance.
How many chances does it take?
Quiet, please, please. This is an act of reverence, and it deserves your most reverent attention.
Charlie, don't. Don't.
Shouldn't have come in here, boy. You just made the sorriest mistake of your life.
Sheriff, this way, quick.
Murder. Plain murder. I'll handle this report back.
Don't waste your time. As dead as you get. And if Doc Tully had hit him with an axe handle,
I'd be dead as Parker here.
How about it, Doc?
It's true, I saw it. Heath Barkley shot Parker down like a dog.
Too bad your brother wasn't killed. It'd been easier than hanging.
Heath, are you all right?
He's got a lump in his head, but I don't think it's serious.
Jared, they say I shot Parker.
I know.
I might have killed him with my bare hands, but not with a gun.
2 eyewitnesses saw him shoot Parker. 3 more saw him come in the barn, and maybe a dozen others heard him make threats. And the barrel of his gun was still warm when I got here.
Heath, tell me what happened.
I walked into the barn. I saw Parker and that other friend of his.
Go ahead.
That's all I remember.
He's got a bump on his head. It's a wonder he can remember anything.
2 eyewitnesses saw him shoot him.
Said they saw him.
I'm not a lawyer, Jared. I'm not going to argue with you. But this is something a jury will have to decide.
Saves 100 lives. When he dies, 3 people. Private Charlie Whitehorse. Killed in action by a barroom dandy and a second-rate traveling dentist.
Hold that, May. Yes, sir. Don't you worry at all. Now, you take a big swig out of it. Big one. Ain't gonna hurt you. You feel better, don't you, huh? Afternoon, Jared.
Afternoon, Doc. Don't let me interrupt. Just go right on with whatever you're doing.
Anything particular you wanted?
No. Just taking a walk, Doc. I think a lot better when I walk.
I hear they got a date set for the trial.
A week from Wednesday. Judge Lansbury.
What a mess. What a terrible mess.
That little stunt that killed Charlie, Doc. People say that was your idea.
God forgive me. I never thought he'd do it.
Well, I wouldn't worry too much. Man's liable to think up all kinds of crazy things when he's had too much to drink.
You'd like to make a fool out of me, wouldn't you? You'd like to get me up on that stand and say old Doc Tully was drunk, that this whole thing's a figment of his imagination. But it isn't. It happened. I saw him. He was insane. He shot Parker down like a dog.
Where were you when the shots were fired?
Well, I was over there by the door.
Why'd you come in here? Why'd you go back in the barn with Doc Tully?
I come to get some help.
You must be some kind of a clairvoyant.
What's that?
You came for help before the shots were fired? Obviously, you knew something was going to happen.
Well, I didn't figure they were sitting down to a game of cards.
Did you see Parker go in the barn?
No.
Then how'd you know he was in there?
He guessed. The same as your brother.
Mr. Vanderveer, what a coincidence. I was just reading your statement over at the sheriff's office.
Did you like it?
Fascinating. I didn't believe a word of it.
The sheriff does, and the jury will.
What surprised me the most was that part about your being a land speculator.
Well, that shouldn't surprise a smart fella like you.
I don't remember ever seeing any deeds registered under the name of Vanderveer.
Atlas. That's the name on the deed. We were partners. Until your brother shot him down like a dog.
You and Doc Tully keep using that same phrase. Shot him down like a dog.
It's an adequate description.
Funny you both should come up with the same one.
Not as funny as that story your brother came up with. I'll bet he'll swear he doesn't remember a thing. Right up to the day they hang him.
We brought you some dinner.
No, thanks. I'm not hungry.
Oh, we saw Heath.
Yeah, he finally found out what's wrong with old Sheriff Madden's stomach. It's his wife's cooking. Hey, we got a letter from Audra. Rained the whole time she was in Rome. She got 3 proposals the first day she was there, though. One from a bona fide duke. How do you like that?
Jared, do you think it's fair not telling Audra about this?
What good would that do? And, Mother, will you stop fussing around with that?
Well, you had
Look,
to have something.
I said I'm not hungry.
Oh, you better come on home and get yourself some rest. You're going to be all burnt out by the time that trial starts.
You take care of you, Nick. I'll take care of me.
Well, maybe Heath's memory will come back.
Even if it does, even if he screams his innocence to the heavens above, 2 eyewitnesses are going to stand up in court and swear that they saw him shoot Parker Atlas down like a dog.
Parker Atlas wasn't worth his salt.
That may be, but he was the son of one of the most respected ranchers in this valley, and don't think that won't count with the jury. And you want to talk about motive? There isn't a man, woman, or child in Stockton who didn't know how Heath felt about Charlie Whitehorse.
Jared, I'm sorry. I saw a light here. I didn't know you had company.
That's all right, Nat. Come on in. Nathan Springer, this is my mother.
How do you do, ma'am?
My brother, Nick.
Howdy. How do you do, Nick?
What are you doing here, Nat? I thought you went back to San Francisco.
My wife threw me out of the house. She literally threw me out of the house. She said, Nat, you haven't had a vacation in 6 years. If you don't get some rest, you're going to drop dead from a heart attack. That's all I had to hear, so I grabbed my bag, came back to Stockton, found the softest bed at the hotel, and there I intend to sleep for 2 solid weeks.
Well, I hope you come out of hibernation long enough to have dinner with us.
It would be a pleasure, ma'am. Oh, by the way, Jared, I've got some news for you. The news out of San Francisco is Danny Manis is going to prosecute your brother.
Who?
He wants to be governor, ma'am. You get to be governor by prosecuting cases that give you publicity. Is he any good? Well, let's put it this way, Nick. He hasn't lost a case in 5 years. Oh, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. He'll be up against the best. Well, I guess I'll run along. Pleasure meeting you, ma'am. Nick, pleasure meeting you. Same. Jared, if you need any help, just holler.
Just a little vacation, huh?
May we proceed with the selection of the jurors, Mr. Manis?
You're Mrs. Bacon, aren't you? Mrs. Florence Bacon.
Yes, sir.
And now, Mrs. Bacon, are you acquainted with the accused?
Well, I know who he is.
Have you formed any opinion concerning his character?
Well, he always seemed to be a real nice young man.
Mrs. Bacon, are you aware that nice young men are capable of savage and lawless acts? They're capable, shall we say, of murdering other nice young men in fits of brutal rage.
That's a totally inflammatory remark.
That was not a remark, Mr. Barclay. It was a question.
Your Honor, I must...
If I follow Mr. Manis correctly, I think he wants to know if this lady is capable of rational judgment, which is well within the limits of proper inquiry.
This juror is acceptable to the prosecution, Your Honor.
You're smiling, Mr. Hartzell. Is there something about these proceedings that amuses you? Very well, then. Let me ask you this. One of the prosecution's star witnesses in this case is a known drunk. Objection! Would you be willing to take the word of a drunk in a case that carries the possible penalty of death?
What kind of an omniscient being do you think you are? Apparently, he knows what I'm going to do before I do it.
Now, wait a minute. Everyone in town knows you're going to use Doc Tully. Silence. Oh, no, wait a minute. Before he was bawling Jared out because he busted in, now he's doing the same thing.
Order. Any more of that, and I'll try this case before an empty courtroom. Sit down, sir. Gentlemen, I think we had better adjourn until tomorrow morning.
Come in. Oh, Victoria.
You wanted to see me?
Yes. Please, sit down. Whoever invented these things didn't have summer in mind. I'll wager 10 years from now, judges won't even be wearing them. They're a holdover from the Middle Ages, when people were awed by ceremonial ritual and pomposity and all the rest of it. Victoria,
I'm not even going to comment on Nick. But, Jared, that's something else. That's something very, very dangerous.
I know.
A doctor doesn't operate on a member of his family. How can you expect a lawyer to act with any degree of emotional stability when he's defending the life of someone he loves?
What would you advise?
Get him off the case, Victoria. I don't care how you do it, but do it. Otherwise, Heath doesn't have a chance.
Jared?
Well, which was it? That famous story about how he took you to your first dance? Or one of his enlightened lectures on the obsolescence of the law? I saw you go into his chambers.
Jared, Judge Lansbury sent for me. He's concerned about you. He feels that because of your personal involvement, you could use help.
I'm surprised he didn't ask you to have me withdraw from the case. You know, if this weren't so tragic, it'd really be funny. Daniel Midas, that great champion of justice, would sell his rotten soul for one line of publicity, comes all the way here to prosecute Heath. The presiding judge tells me I need help, and by sheer coincidence, one of the best lawyers in the state just happens to be registered at the local hotel. Because his wife throws him out of her 40-room mansion and tells me to go take a little holiday. Midas and Springer, those two alley cats. They've been waiting for the last 5 years just for the chance to tear at each other's throats.
But if Springer could help us, does it really matter?
That's the funny part. It does. There's not a thing I can do about it. Let the record show, Your Honor, that in addition to myself, the defendant will be represented by Mr. Nathan Springer of San Francisco.
You got nothing to say, huh?
Mr. Barkley's questioned me 12 times. I'm tired of being questioned.
That's what Manners told you to say, isn't it, Pete?
Yeah, I don't have to say nothing until he puts me on a stand.
Well, that's true. That's true indeed. Just a darn shame.
What is it?
Little fellas like you, always getting caught in a squeeze.
What do you mean?
Well, it's obvious, isn't it?
Not to me, it's not.
Pete, let me give you a little lesson. Money is power. In San Francisco, I could have you killed for a dime.
I saw what I saw.
Oh, I'm sure you did, Pete.
Mr. Springer, I saw what I saw.
Mr. Perkins, come on in.
Here's your answer from Chicago.
You married, Mr. Perkins?
Nope.
Who do you talk to mostly?
Now, look, mister. Anything that comes in over my wire is strictly confidential.
An honorable man. Well, now, that's hard to come by these days.
Thank you, sir.
Heath was out of his mind, insane. He fired once, bam! He fired twice, bam! And then Parker failed. Then I went back here, and I got this axe handle, and I sneaked up on him. And I got wham! Right over his back.
Doc, yeah, fine. That's very dramatic. Don't play games with me, Doc. I've had you investigated by the best detectives in this country. Now that we, understand each other, I don't suppose that you'll deny that you are married to a woman whose maiden name is Vera Henderson, who lives at 24 Elm Street, Chicago, Illinois.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Well, nothing, Doc, nothing. Except that you are also married to a woman whose maiden name is Alice Duggan, who lives at 111 Randall Terrace, Kansas City, Missouri.
You're trying to blackmail me, that's what you're doing?
Oh, Doc, temper.
The first time Charlie Whitehorse fell from that balcony. Now tell us what happened immediately afterwards.
Oh, well, everybody gathered round.
And did the defendant threaten Parker Atlas?
Well, I'm not sure.
You're not sure. What do you mean by that?
Well, it was noisy in there. I'm just not positive of everything that was said.
You were positive when you were questioned by Sheriff Madden. You were positive when you spoke to me less than 2 days ago. No further questions.
The witness is excused.
The prosecution calls as its next witness Dr. Arnold Tully.
Mr. Midas, I'm told that Dr. Tully is not in the courthouse, that he left Stockton late last night.
Congratulations, Nat.
Oh, thank you, Jared. Thank you.
Pretty neat day's work. Tully, McGinn. The old 1-2. Wiped out before they ever hit the witness chair.
Well, I always did believe in research. Thought you'd be happier.
I've never suborned a witness, Nat.
The idea is to win.
The idea is justice.
Jared, you asked me to help you on this case. You knew exactly why I came back into this town. I need you and you need me. So let's stop your wailing about legal ethics. Right now, I'm just trying to save that boy's life.
Thanks, Joe. Why so glum? You should be dancing a jig. Don't you realize that half the prosecution's case went right down the drain today?
I didn't like the way it happened.
All that happened is that a couple of liars lost their nerve.
Is that all there was to it?
Heath, a trial is a very unpredictable thing. You never know how a witness is going to behave till they get right into that chair.
Somebody got to McGinn. Somebody got to Tully. Process of elimination. I picked Springer. Jared, I've never known you to compromise before. Don't start now.
Listen, Heath, I'm no saint. Do you think I can put a bunch of abstract principles about my own flesh and blood?
But if I get my freedom, I want it clean. How do I live the rest of my life, not knowing whether I murdered a man? Never knowing for sure whether I'm innocent or not. I've got to know.
Well, then I'll tell you right now, you didn't do it.
Jared, stop coddling me. I'm not sure anymore. I think and I think. And I know what Charlie meant to me. And I think about seeing him on that filthy barroom floor, wasted and disgraced. Why wouldn't I kill somebody who did that to him?
Because I know you're not built that way.
Jared, I could have done it.
All right, Heath, let's go over it again. Every detail right from the very beginning. You were running down the alley. What happened then?
I reached the barn door, and McGinn and Tully tried to stop me. I brushed them aside and rushed into the barn. I heard a noise, and that's when Vandiver and Parker got up from behind some boxes.
Wait a minute. What noise?
I don't know, just a noise.
A noise from where? Think, Heath.
From the loft.
You heard a noise from the loft?
TJ.
TJ Dice?
Dice was in the loft. Jared, he must have seen the whole thing happen.
State your name, please.
Gustavus S. Vandiver.
Mr. Vandiver, what is it that you do? What is your occupation?
I'm a land speculator.
And I take it you own land here in Stockton?
No, Mr. Atlas owned the land. We were partners.
Well, how long did you know the deceased Parker Atlas?
I met him during the war. Same company.
Hey, look, I've turned this town inside out and upside down. He's gone, Jared. Nobody's seen him since the day of the shooting.
I bumped into him and
Keep looking, Nick.
that's when we decided to become partners.
All right.
Now, Mr. Vanderbilt, please, tell us all exactly what happened after you and Parker Atlas entered that barn.
We kept quiet, hoping he wouldn't find us.
He?
Well, he's Barkley.
Go on.
But somehow he knew we were in there. I don't know, maybe he heard the door shut. But he knew, and he came to get us.
Mr. Vanderbilt, exactly what do you mean by get?
I mean kill. It was written all over his face. Craziness. He was practically slobbering at the mouth.
Well, Mr. Vanderbilt, what, if anything, did you do?
Well, we didn't stand still, and we didn't have many choices. The back door was the only way out.
So you headed immediately for that back door?
That's right. The first thing I knew, I heard a shot. That one missed. And then as I was trying to open the door, Barkley rushed up behind Parker. He shoved his pistol into Parker's back. That was the one that did it. Parker's dead before he hit the floor.
Mr. Vanderbilt, how is it that you survived?
Doc Tully. He hit Barkley with an axe handle.
And so, Mr. Vanderbilt, you saw Heath Barkley thrust his gun into the back of Parker Atlas and shoot him down in a fit of wanton rage.
Yes, sir. I did.
You're a witness.
Mr. Vanderveer, you say that you were a, how did you say it, a land speculator?
That's right.
In Denver.
Around Denver.
And you met the deceased Parker Atlas during the war?
That's right.
Would you say that you served with distinction?
Well, I like to think I did.
Mm-hmm. You two were in the same outfit, weren't you? The second, what was it, the 2nd Georgia Volunteer?
He was a lieutenant, I was a sergeant.
Sergeant?
That's right.
Well, that's odd. Got you listed here as a private, Private Gustavus S. Vanderveer.
I would like to see what that is, please.
It's an official document from the archives of the 2nd Georgia Volunteers. The names of men who deserted in the face of enemy fire. Gentlemen, I have a little present for you. Come on, get in there.
Well, well. Hello, TJ. Where'd you find him, Nick?
Hagersville, under a rock.
You're going to get into a lot of trouble for this.
Oh, really? Heath tells me he saw you in that barn, TJ.
He's lying. I wasn't even in town.
That's not the truth. I'm gonna put you on the stand, TJ, and I can make you talk, believe me.
It won't do you no good.
Take him home with you, Nick. I'll get a subpoena from Judge Lansbury.
Come on, TJ. Come on with me. You can help me saw a little firewood.
What?
Firewood. You can help me saw.
No, no,
we
see,
can
I
get a
really
few more
don't
things to
like
do
that.
for you. Yeah. Jared, are you out of your mind? You know what he could do to us?
It's what Heath wants.
Heath wants what?
The truth, no matter what it is.
As big a fool as you are.
It runs in the family.
Change his mind. His life is your responsibility.
You didn't get to know him very well, did you?
What's the matter with him? Has he got a guilty conscience? Well, let me tell you something about human nature, Jared. In a week, he'll be down on his hands and knees, thanking God for his deliverance.
I've got an eyewitness, Nat, and I'm gonna use him.
You're gonna hang your brother, that's what you're gonna do.
Now, that wouldn't bother you very much, would it? The only thing that gives you any pain is the thought of losing to Midas.
You're the loser, Jared. He's your brother.
Would you state your full name, please?
Thomas James Dice.
Where were you last employed, Mr. Dice?
Handyman in the saloon.
I see. On the night that Parker Atlas was killed, were you in the storage barn behind that saloon?
Yes, sir.
What were you doing there?
Minding my own business.
I didn't ask you that.
I was up in the loft, stacking whiskey cases.
I see. And while you were in that loft, did anyone else enter that barn?
Atlas, Vandiver, and your brother Heath came in.
Will you tell us what you saw, Mr. Dice, after those men came into the barn?
Nothing.
Did you have your eyes shut?
No.
Now, Mr. Dice, this is a scale drawing of that barn. This is the figure of a man with his back against the farthest corner of the loft, a man of your approximate height. This arrow represents his line of sight. Now, you'll notice, with his back against the farthest corner of the loft, he has a perfectly clear view of the floor below. Now, I'll ask you again, Mr. Dice, what happened after those men came in?
Please, leave me be. I don't want to get involved.
You don't want to get involved.
All my life, I've lived clean. Never no trouble, never. Walk away. Don't get yourself mixed up in other people's messes.
Have you ever for one brief moment thought what it would be like? What it really would be like to be in some terrible trouble and desperately need someone's help, only that person wouldn't give that help because they refused to get involved? Don't you think you've cowered from the responsibilities of life long enough, Mr. Dice, because this time you are involved? You were in that barn and you saw Parker Atlas killed. I know it, the judge knows it, and the jury knows it. And if you refuse to tell us what happened, you'll not only be guilty of perpetuating a worthless existence, you'll be criminally guilty of withholding evidence. TJ. All I want you to do is simply tell the truth. Nothing will happen to you. Nothing except maybe the beginning of a new life. You were in the loft stacking whiskey cases. 3 men came in. Parker Atlas, Gus Vandiver, and Heath Barkley. What happened?
They started to argue, the 3 of them. Then Atlas moved toward your brother. They were going to fight it out because of what Atlas had done to Charlie Whitehorse. The other fellow, Vandiver, he moved up behind Atlas and pulled his pistol. But he kept it hid behind Atlas' back.
Go on.
About that time, Doc Tully came in and picked up an axe handle. Your brother Heath didn't see him because he was watching Vandiver. He must have known that Vandiver had his pistol out because he said, "Get away from there." That's when it happened. Doc Tully swung the axe handle and drove your brother forward into Atlas, and Atlas got pushed back, and well, that's what did it.
Did what?
Killed him.
Killed him?
Yes, sir.
Are you stating under oath that it was Gus Vandiver's pistol that discharged and killed Parker Atlas?
Just a minute. Mr. Barkley's gun was fired. It's here as evidence.
Yes, but Mr. Vandiver fired it. He told Doc Tully that if they didn't blame it on Heath, they'd have more trouble than they could handle.
Thank you, Mr. Dice.
Mr. Midas, do you have any questions? No questions. Case dismissed.
Congratulations, Counselor. But I still think you were wrong. No reason for you to take that risk.
There was plenty of reason, Mr. Springer. I had to know the truth.
So long, Sheriff. Goodbye, Dad.
Let's go home.
All right.
Heath, I'm mighty glad things turned out the way they did, but I have to admit I'm going to miss you around my jail. You know, this young man plays a pretty fair hand of poker.
Well, which reminds me, Sheriff.
Yeah.
Ya, señor, ¿cómo han estado?
Ya nomás qué rosa más linda.
Pero solo está perteneciendo en el jardín que no pertenece.
Sí, pero bellezas como esta pertenecen a todos.
What do you want?
What do you have, señor? ¡Ándale, Juan! ¡Súbete! ¡Vámonos! ¡Vámonos! Señor, bájese, bájese. Ándale. What is this? My brothers, we were in mortal danger and we didn't even know it.
Madre mía.
And what we have here? Pretty. Amigo, vámonos. Ándele, ándele.
And what do you have to give, lovely señorita? Mi hermano, to look upon her is a gift itself. You are music for my lonely soul, señorita.
I don't hear any music.
That is easily remedied, señorita. Juan, the guitar.
Sí, hombre, ¿cómo no?
Señorita? Come. The little bird is frightened. I will not hurt you. Relax.
Take what you want and let us go.
That may take some time, senor.
George, help me. George, please.
Yes, sir. Like a room with a bath, please.
Yes, sir. Got one just newly painted. Cost you $3, though.
Well, I guess a man ought to treat himself to the very best every now and then.
Yes, sir.
By the way, have the Mendoza brothers checked in yet?
The Mendoza brothers?
Uh-huh. They're supposed to meet me here.
No, sir. Nobody by that name is registered at this hotel.
You sure?
Positive.
Well, they'll be checking in a little later. When they do, let me know right away, will you, please?
Yes, sir.
Are you dining alone, sir?
Unfortunately.
That's one of my tables.
Looks just lovely. You better be careful, young lady. You're going to spoil me.
I bet you're used to that.
Now, let's see. What's exciting?
Well, the pot roast is good, and there's a dance later.
Well, now, maybe I better try both. In that order.
My name's Sally.
Hello, Sally.
Sue?
Guess I have to start somewhere.
Jared?
Well, George Akers.
I thought that was you.
How are you? It's
Fine.
nice to see you. Sit down.
Thank you.
You had dinner?
I just finished, thanks.
Oh. Well, how have you been?
Splendid. You?
Oh, can't complain, I guess. How's the law business here in Baker City?
Oh, last week I defended a drunk who kicked a pig.
How'd you do?
I got him a light fine. Told the judge my client thought the pig was a mad dog. When'd you arrive?
Oh, a couple of hours ago.
To see the Mendoza brothers.
Well, yes, as a matter of fact. Do you know them?
Oh, I just met them very briefly. They said they were here to meet you.
What do you mean we're here?
They left.
They left?
Uh-huh.
Well, I don't understand. They were coming here to buy some vineyard land from me north of town. Where the devil did they go?
They probably went back to Mexico. They came in a couple days ago. Looked at the land, decided they didn't want it. Asked me to tell you about it.
Well, I'll be... That doesn't make any sense. They sent me a $300 deposit. What'd they say about that?
They understood it would be forfeited.
That's a lot of money.
Well, I wouldn't worry about it, Jared. After all, you did everything you could to hold up your side of the bargain.
Well, I suppose you're right about that.
Oh, by the way, how's your lovely wife, Felicia? Fine. She's visiting her mother in Cayuma for a couple of days.
Oh, we'll be sure and give her my regards.
I'll do that. Well, it's good to see you, Jared.
It's good to see you.
If you get caught kicking any pigs before you leave town, give me a call.
Well, Sally, thanks to you, I guess my trip won't be a total waste. What time do we trip the Life Fantastic?
Huh?
The dance we were talking about.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I'll bet you're real good on the dance floor, too. But I think I'm going to have to beg off.
Oh?
Well, to tell you the truth, it's been a long, hard day, and I'm kind of tired.
That happened kind of suddenly, didn't it?
Well, I've been on my feet since 6 o'clock this morning. I guess it just came over me all of a sudden. I'll get the rest of your supper.
Good evening. You mind if I walk you home? I'd like to talk to you.
About what?
Well, for one thing, the Mendoza brothers.
Who are the Mendoza brothers?
Oh, you don't know them?
Why would I?
No reason, I guess. Tell me something. Why'd you change your mind so suddenly about that dance?
I told you I was tired.
Seems to me you didn't get tired until George Akers came over to the table.
What did he have to do with it?
Well, I don't exactly know. It's just that I've been getting kind of strange reactions from people around here every time I mention the Mendoza brothers.
I don't know what you mean.
I don't exactly know either. I was hoping maybe you could help.
You're a nice man, Mr. Barclay. I appreciate you walking me home. But I make it a point to keep out of other people's affairs. You ask too many questions, you usually get hurt.
Sally. Now, that's usually a pretty good rule, but
I follow it. Goodbye, Mr. Barclay.
I heard you were in town. I was wondering if you were going to drop by.
Well, I guess I would have gotten around to it sooner or later.
How's your mom?
Oh, fine. Everybody's fine.
Good, good. You know, George Akers was saying that you were asking about those three brothers.
Did you see him, Tom?
Well, they rode in briefly, rode right out again.
Just can't understand why they wouldn't at least send a telegraph. Let me know.
Well, you know how the Mexicans are.
No? How are they?
Oh, well, what I mean is, well, they probably got homesick. Decided to forget the whole thing. I wouldn't worry too much about it if I were you.
Nice talking to you, Tom.
You too. Jared? I suppose you'll be leaving in the morning, huh?
Well, I wouldn't bother you if I just hung around for a couple of days, would it, Tom?
Well, why should it bother me?
That's right. Why should it?
Mr. Barkley.
Yes, what is it?
Dirk Sampson.
How do you do?
Just fine, but... Hey, wait a minute now. You better relax, Mr. Barkley, or you're going to end up with a hole in your head. That's a little better. And now that we have got your attention...
What's this little meeting all about?
Now, that's Sally. You see, Sally's my girl. And I don't appreciate the fact of you walking her home the way you did.
Now, if she's your girl, she sure keeps it a secret.
You hurt my feelings with that kind of talk, Mr. Barkley. I'll tell you what I think the best thing is all around. Go home, Mr. Barkley. Go home first thing in the morning. And I'm sure with you out the way, why, me and Sally, well, we'll get along just fine. What do you think about that, Mr. Barkley? Well, I guess he agrees, fellas, because he sure ain't arguing. Let him go. Remember, Barkley, you're leaving. First thing in the morning.
I just ran into an acquaintance of yours.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about your boyfriend who seems to think I'm pushing in on his territory.
I haven't got any boyfriend.
Are you sure of that?
I'm positive. Well, I've only been here for a month.
That's what I thought.
Whoever it was must have been drunk or something.
Oh, no, nobody was drunk. They were just using you to give me a little message.
You must be imagining things.
Now, listen, Sally, I'm not imagining my ribs being kicked in. This town wants me out. Why?
Listen, somebody beats you up. That's your business.
The magic word is Mendoza, the three brothers who just rode in and rode out.
You're hurting me.
Where are they?
I don't know.
You're lying.
No. Listen to me, please. You've been warned. Now leave it alone. If you don't, you're liable to wind up dead.
And that's the only thing that's going to stop me from asking questions.
Then ask somebody else.
I'm asking you.
No, leave me out of it. Get out of here.
I'm mad enough and I heard enough to keep you up all night if I have to. No, I want answers.
The Mendoza brothers are dead.
What are you talking about?
They were lynched. They killed a woman. They raped her and they killed her.
Was there a trial?
No.
Where was the sheriff?
He was there, watching with the rest of us.
Didn't work, Tom.
What are you talking about, Jared?
I'm talking about the three you sent to rough me up. It only made me more curious. And now I've got the answer.
Well, 2 days ago, George and Alicia were in their buggy about 10 miles out of town. 3 of them pulled the buggy off the road and they started...
They made her dance with them. Then when they started putting their hands on her, I went crazy. They knocked me out. And when I came to, Alicia was gone. So was the buggy. There were bloodstains on the ground.
And I put a posse together and went out right away. But I couldn't find anything. Then the next day, the 3 of them rode into town. They checked into the hotel to wait for you. I guess they never figured the one man who could identify them lived here. Then everybody went sort of crazy. They grabbed a rope and, well, short of shooting every man in town, I couldn't stop it, Jared.
I'd like to read you, too, a letter that was written by one of the men you hanged. It says, Senor Barkley, we have heard of you and your family for many years in Mexico. The Barkley name is honored and respected, so we are very proud that you have agreed to sell us your land in the beautiful California. We've worked many years to save the money needed. We want to become citizens of your country, to earn the love and respect of your people. Now I ask you, does this letter sound like it could be written by a man who would do this?
They did it. They held me and made me watch. I pleaded with them. I told them to kill me, but please don't hurt her. But they just laughed at me and said one filthy thing after another. Don't blame Tom. If I had it to do over again, I'd have led the lynching myself. Now, if you gentlemen will excuse me, I'll say goodnight.
Jared, you lived by the law all your life, and so have I. I'm sorry this had to happen in my town. I really am. But I'm not going to blame myself too much for it.
The whole thing doesn't make any sense. You say it happened about 10 miles out of town?
About that.
I just can't understand why those 3 would ride in here when they knew Akers could identify them.
Now, what are you getting at?
Oh, I don't know. I just can't understand why they'd kill her and not him. Doesn't add up.
Killing never does. Especially by those kind.
What kind is that, Tom?
Well, those Mexicans, of course.
Of course.
What do you want?
Is Mr. Akers in?
He's gone. Had to see a client.
The man who kicked the pig?
What?
Never mind, I'll wait.
He may be some time, Mr. Barkley.
You know me?
Everybody knows you.
So it would seem.
Mr. Barkley, they killed Mrs. Akers in cold blood and for no reason except to satisfy their lust. They deserved to be hanged.
They deserved a fair trial.
You surely don't believe those 3 were innocent. Mr. Akers recognized them plain as day.
Yes, so he says. It's just that there are a couple of little things I don't quite understand.
Mr. Barkley, why don't you go away? Why don't you leave Mr. Akers alone? Hasn't he gone through enough in the last 7 years?
The last 7 years?
I didn't mean that. I meant that the poor man has had a terrible tragedy, and people shouldn't be poking their noses in at such a time.
How long were the Akers married? Seems to me it was about 7 years, wasn't it? How'd they get along all that time? I mean, was there any little trouble between them?
I won't answer that.
I think you already have. Maybe I had better come back at another time. As you say, it might be a long wait.
What's wrong?
Last night I was rereading this letter, Tom.
Oh, now look, Jared. Now, what's the point in going over it again?
You've never heard the second page.
Meaning what?
Does Akers speak Spanish?
No.
But he claimed all 3 Mexicans spoke to him, right?
Yes.
All right. Now, this letter was written by the oldest Mendoza brother. At the end of it, he apologizes for the fact that he was the only one who could speak or write English.
One of them did all the talking. Other 2 just jabbered away in Spanish. I just figured it was because they were scared or excited.
Or they couldn't speak English.
Look, Jared, now why would Akers identify them if they weren't the 3 who did it?
I don't know. Possible he made a mistake. It's also possible there never were any Mexicans.
Are you suggesting that Akers killed Alicia himself?
Kind of sounds that way, doesn't it?
Oh, Jared, you're really on the wrong track. Oh, he was crazy about her. Oh, he showed her off all the time.
I just had a talk with his housekeeper. She gave me the definite impression that there was trouble between them.
Oh, she's an old busybody. Why, she's been jealous of Alicia ever since the day Akers brought her home. You can't put any store in her. And as for Akers saying that all 3 of them spoke English, well, that's an understandable mistake. He was in a state of shock when it happened.
All I'm asking you to do is consider the possibility.
That I hung 3 innocent men? Not likely, Jared. Not likely at all.
You afraid to dig a little deeper?
Now, how would I do that?
Let's find Alicia's body.
I looked for it.
Then let's look again.
Now, what'll that prove?
I don't know. But if she was assaulted before she was murdered, that'll show. And if she was just plain murdered, that'll show, too. You willing to face up to the truth?
But as far as I'm concerned, I know the truth. But if you need proof...
I do, Tom. And down in your guts, you need it, too.
Left fork goes to Rock Creek. That's where Akers and his wife were supposed to be coming from.
Uh-huh. You go up there with a posse?
I covered the whole area. Didn't find anything.
You know, Tom, a fellow who might have murdered his wife isn't going to be likely to want the law to find her body, is he?
Meaning he could have misdirected us.
Meaning we better try this way.
What's the matter? That looks like Akers' buggy. Hello there. Where'd you get this buggy?
Who's asking?
Sheriff Hayes, Baker City.
Sheriff, huh? Too bad you didn't come nosing around when the bargaining was going on.
What bargaining?
3 Mexicans 2 days ago said they wanted to trade that buggy.
3 Mexicans?
That's what I said.
Just 2 days ago with this buggy.
Which I didn't want.
These Mexicans. What'd they look like?
Like Mexicans.
I mean, would you be able to recognize them if you saw them again?
I'd sure recognize one of them. Sitting there on that Palomino with one of them fancy silver saddles. I won't forget that one.
What kind of supplies were they after?
Oh, trail supplies, food, blankets, stuff I couldn't spare.
I take it then you weren't exactly in favor of the trade.
That's exactly what I mean. But this grinning Mexican had a gun, so there wasn't nothing I could do. You here to get my stuff back?
Now, which way'd they go when they left?
South.
Thanks for your help.
You can thank me by bringing my stuff back. I sure don't need that buggy.
Jared. They were the ones.
That sounds that way, doesn't it, Tom?
And I hung 3 innocent men. Now, how do I fix it? How do I live with a thing like that?
They can't be far. We just get them, that's all.
What's inside me? What I did. Catching them won't change that.
No, it won't. But it's a start.
Who was it? How many?
I don't know. I couldn't tell. I gotta get you to a doctor.
No. No doctor can fix this.
Oh, sure they can.
Jared. No, you just promise me you'll get it all straight.
You just rest easy, Tom. I'll get you some water.
Thought I heard someone ride up. Nice to see you. You hungry?
I could eat.
Got beans or ham? Or both if you got the courage. A little joke. I ain't the best cook in the world, but I'm sociable.
I'll try the ham.
Ham and spuds coming up.
Get much traffic through here? I mean, other than the stage?
Well, you might say I get about all of what comes through, being I'm the only stop between here and Baker City.
What about 3 men? Mexicans. One of them riding a Palomino with a fancy saddle.
What about them?
They come through here?
What happened there?
Bullet. Just a crease.
One of those Mexicans?
I think so.
Look, mister, I make it a point never to get involved in anyone else's battles. I stay a lot healthier that way.
They did come through here, then?
You ain't hearing anything from me.
Suit yourself. That's the way you feel.
If you want to tend that arm, I got some astringent back here.
It's all right. Taking care of itself.
Hey, you want to hear a funny story the stage driver told me this morning?
Not particularly.
Those 3 Mexicans.
What about them?
It was yesterday they came through.
Oh?
Yeah. They were in a hurry. Bought some food, a couple bottles of whiskey.
I suppose they told you which way they were going.
Well, they didn't actually make a point to tell me.
Bet you heard, though, huh?
As a matter of fact, I heard one of them say they were headed for the border.
How much do I owe you?
You didn't finish it.
It's like you said.
How's that?
You're a lot better at talking than cooking. On your feet. I said on your feet.
Senor, what is the meaning of this?
You're coming with me back to Baker City. We're gonna have a little talk with the law.
There must be some mistake.
No mistake.
We have done nothing except share the stars.
It is true, senor. We're just plain vaqueros. Why would the law want us?
For murder.
We have murdered no one.
No one except Sheriff Hayes and Alicia Akers.
But you have come a long way for nothing.
That's right, Mr. Barkley.
Alicia?
Yes?
I thought you were dead.
Who told you that?
Your husband. He told the whole town that you'd been raped and murdered by these 3.
My husband lied. I left him. I went with Francisco willingly, and George watched me go.
You went with them willingly? 3 Mendoza brothers rode into Baker City to see me on business. Your husband told everybody they were the ones that stopped your buggy and murdered you. They lynched him.
That makes no sense.
He didn't want anybody to find you with them. He hanged 3 innocent men just to protect his reputation.
You always did have excellent perception, Jared. The gun. Over here.
All right, George. Just tell me one thing, will you? Why'd you have to murder Hayes?
I was sorry I didn't get you too, Jared. Then when you headed south, I figured you had an idea where these four were, so I followed.
Is a reputation really worth all this, George?
You think you could stand being laughed at everywhere?
That's all that's ever mattered to him, not looking the fool. Appearing to be an upright citizen, a perfect husband, and a gentleman. Only I knew different. Because when he couldn't feel that he was a man outside the house, then he'd slap me around, and that made him feel really important. You've no idea what it was like, living like that.
You had everything a woman could want.
I had nothing. Oh, I could tell you stories. Once he went into a rage like a little boy because the mayor didn't invite him to his birthday party. He nearly cried. Still running true to form.
You dare talk to me after what you've done?
After what I've done? What I've tried to do is get away from you. I asked for a divorce once. That was impossible. Not proper. The right people would talk. They might even ask questions. He said that he'd kill me if I ever mentioned it again.
You should have killed him, my love.
Your love. You did what no man can do to me. You. Nothing. Thief. Animal.
If I am those things, senor, then you must be worse, or she would not have left you.
I would have shot you sooner. From out there. But that would have been too gracious. Now you can die slowly. And you can watch, just like you made me watch.
Stay where you are! George!
Like I said, I could tell such stories.
What's going on in there?
Just gave the federal marshal the facts.
What does that mean?
Means he's got the facts. Would you like me to ride out with you a little way?
Francisco's waiting for me.
Alicia, are you sure you know what you're doing?
George made me feel cold and empty. Francisco doesn't.
Simple as that, huh?
Simple as that. Goodbye, Jared.
Mr. Barkley, well, what I did, what we all did, the fact is we thought we were doing the right thing.
Well, I only been here a month.
You learn quick.
What about us?
You'll have to live with yourselves.